Hey folks, Quill18 here, and it had been my intention this weekend to bring some more episodes of more of our long-term Let's Plays, but an awesome, time-sensitive opportunity has come up to do a commentary on Gratuitous Space Battles, which is probably the game with the greatest name of all time. This is one of my favorite indie titles that's out there. Do you like Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, any big like sci-fi TV show with huge space battles? Well, if you do, you will love this game because it's all about having these huge armadas of ships fighting against one another. And it might sound like this, maybe this is something like a real-time strategy game or something like that. It's not really, because it is a ship design, fleet building game where you don't actually control the combat necessarily. And you'll see what I mean very shortly. Now, the reason this is a time-sensitive commentary that I had to make right now is because I have, just for you, my viewer, a exclusive discount code for this game. Well, actually, all of the products, all the Gratuitous Space Battles games, or I'm not sure, you'll have to see. It could be for the base game, but also for the Collector's Edition, which includes all of the downloadable content. And that code, which will be in the description box below, is all one word, all in caps, Let's Play GSB. Let's Play GSB. No apostrophes or anything. Again, look in the description box. This will get you 20% off the game. 20% off! If you're buying it at the website for Gratuitous Space Battles. So this game is available on some of the I don't know what you call them, the sort of electronic stores like Steam, Impulse, a few of these sites. But if you go to the developer's website, you get this code. Also, the developer likes it when you buy games directly from them, because they will get a bigger cut of the money. So if you're going to support indie gaming, always the best thing to do is to try to get it through the developer's website. So without further ado, let's get started on Gratuitous Space Battles. Now, I have just reinstalled this game more or less on this new computer, the computer that I'm using for casting. So a lot of the stuff hadn't been unlocked, so I did just go through and just unlock some of the missions here, but how am I going to do this? Maybe the first thing I'll do is just show off what a battle looks like, and then we'll get into what it looks like when you're actually playing. So I'm going to take the first non-tutorial battle here, defending Sirius. We're going to just deploy the fleet here. So this is the standard deployment screen. On the right-hand side, you see the enemy fleet. At the top, actually, let me clear out these ships here. Delete. At the top, you see how many pilots you've used, how many credits worth of ships you've used, and the amount of honor you will get by winning the battle as is. And what's going to happen is I'm going to add a cruiser here. This is just a cruiser that gets automatically built for you from the tutorial. Very basic ship, not customized. You can see that my fleet cost has gone up and my honor has gone down. It's very easy, especially we're currently on normal difficulty. And let's say we just fill the screen up with a bunch of these cruisers. And I'm also going to add in some fighters. This will make a little bit more sense later. We're going to look at some strategy down the road. So, if I've spent all my money, I've maxed out here, I'm going to get virtually no honor for winning this fight. I'm on normal. I'm not even using any like special tactics. I'm not custom designing these ships. I will easily win this fight. This is not where the challenge comes from. The challenge is A, playing higher difficulty, but also trying to win the battle with the lowest cost possible so you get the most honor possible, because you use honor to unlock additional ship designs. So this is going to be very, very plain, not very smart approach, but we should easily win. But it'll give you an idea of what the combat looks like. So we're going to hit fight, it's going to load very quickly, and we're just going to click to start the battle. So our fleet cruises in from the left-hand side, and you can see already the ships have started to fire at each other. And I can zoom in quite a bit and see the action. So here we have some fighter ships advancing, a fighter squadron, enemy fighter squadron. They're called the Cobalt Squadron. And I've got my fighters here. I have them set up actually to prioritize enemy fighters as much as possible. So they're going to try to shoot them down. You can see the damage coming in. We've got damage reports coming up top. People making comments about the battle. Really, really, actually quite funny usually if you're reading it. It might be hard to do on YouTube, but they're hilarious messages to read. And over here you can see my fleet integrity. I'm still at 100%. They're down to 97%. We've just basically killed a few of their fighters. But as some of their larger ships here get damaged, look at the battle damage. They've got holes, they've got smoke. You can see the turrets moving back and forth. Oh, big hit there! And their shields are definitely down. Nothing's being reflected on the shields. Here's a ship with shields still intact, so some things are being reflected away. But this one beneath it, that's damaged. Oh, taking so much damage, and there it goes! Oh, such a beautiful, gorgeous explosion. And now you can see their fleet integrity is down to 63%. And we're still at 100%. Easily going to overcome this. Although, oh, this ship here has been heavily damaged. It also just took an EMP pulse, an electromagnetic pulse, that disabled the ship temporarily. Very, very dangerous attack. And it is on the verge of being destroyed. But we're still way, way ahead in this battle. And we don't even have to fully destroy the enemy. We just have to get them low enough that they will surrender. And of course, at this point, you can see clearly we are easily going to win this battle. Missiles going out, impacting against the shield, doing some damage. Whereas the beams, look at them being reflected away. The beams are just bouncing right off these shields. Luckily, the missiles and plasma blasts, actually these are probably just missiles. A lot of them are missing, actually. This ship may have some electronic countermeasures. Look at these missiles splitting into 3 and 4 as they come towards here. And impacting... Oh, doing a little bit of damage. We've got some point defense lasers coming off this ship, trying to shoot down the missiles before they impact. Getting a few of them, but indeed, they are hitting, and this ship is taking considerable damage. All these systems in red are completely offline. This is the final hull slowly being whittled away, and it's in very, very big danger of blowing up. We may lose him before it goes. Now, I'm going to speed up for the end of the battle, because some of these battles can take quite a long time, so I'm going to speed this up all the way up to quad speed. You can see the action goes up quite a bit. These shields finally drop on this ship. Some of the weapons are still ineffective against a very powerful hull, but most of them cut through, and another ship goes, and this is the final ship. We've destroyed it 0%. Again, we don't always have to go all the way to 0% to win the battle, but in this case we did. We only got a miserable 54 honor for winning this. Oh, that's terrible. And that's because we used we used our entire budget for this battle. Clearly we didn't have to. We had tons of ships left over. Even using these tutorial ships, we could have trimmed this off, but of course this is a very early mission, and it is on normal. So you get two options here, view statistics and go to fleet headquarters. I'm going to show you the fleet headquarters here. And this is where you can buy additional weapons and just ship modules in general. Sometimes they're weapons, crew bays, armor, shields. You've got power plants. You've got all kinds of weird miscellaneous things. Phaser cannons, multiphasic shields. There's also more ship hull designs that you can pick up. I've unlocked all of the Federation ones, which are the race that I've got unlocked here, but you can also unlock more races, which come with entirely different ship designs that have different emphasis. Some races are more about mobility, some are more about armor, some are more about shields, different things like that. And so I've unlocked a lot of these modules as well, but not all of them. So now we're going to go back to the main menu, we're going to go back to the battle screen, and what I want to do now is I want to try to actually design a proper fleet to try to make maximum honor, and I was thinking that I would do it. Is it the Chaos Nebula? No. The Emerald Nebula? Yes, okay. So some of these maps have anomalies, and if you click here, you can find out about the details of the anomaly. This nebula reduces weapon range by 25%. All ships are required to have engines to get to the battle, which is very important because you can actually design a ship without engines. They just sit there, like starbases or something. It does mean you have a lot more space to load up more armor and weapons and all that, or just make the ship cheaper so that you can put down more of them. But this particular battle, the ships require engines, so that's good to know. And shield systems are inoperable due to gravimetric flux. So this map, you will have no shields. So I'm going to use that to design a really custom fleet designed to do really good in this particular map. I'm going to go to deploy the fleet. And I'm going to start off by designing a ship. So these are the basic tutorial ships that the game comes with. I didn't even design them. So we're going to look at the design a ship screen. So this is what it looks like. And I'm going to start by designing the cruisers. There are 3 classes of ships. There are fighters, frigates, and cruisers. And the cruisers are the biggest. They tend to form the backbone of your fleet at any given point, mostly because they're so incredibly tough. At least the way I play it. Now, many people will probably discover way better ways to assemble fleets than I do. This is just what I do. So I'm going to scroll down. These are all the cruisers. The Rabbit cruiser is just a funny generic ship. Looks like a rabbit. But these are the 4 Federation cruisers, and one of them I did unlock. So what I'm going to do now, each one has slightly different stats in terms of their cost, their base power. The length doesn't really matter so much. Well, smaller ships are harder to hit, especially by slow-moving weapon turrets. And actually, that does matter, especially when you factor in engine speed. Some ships are actually really good at dodging certain types of weapons. The standard modules, which are non-weapon modules, and hardpoints, which can fit anything, including weapons. So usually you fill these with weapons, but you don't have to. And then each of these hulls, so in addition to having these different specs up top, each of these hulls may have different bonus. So this one has a bonus hull integrity and a speed boost. This one has hull integrity boost and power output. Hull integrity boost, which I think you will see on all the Federation ships, that's just their signature. And the Tiger Cruiser, in addition to the hull integrity, also has an armor boost. And because we can't use shields in this map, I'm going to be relying on armor a lot. So I thought, I will use the Tiger Cruiser hull to make my heavy armor type ship. And that's what I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him, actually, I'm going to call him the Armor Regen Cruiser. And the reason for that is, there is a module down here. Advanced Armor Repair. So this module will actually repair your armor over time. So I'm going to drop that in. There's also another module here, which is called the Cruiser Auto Repair System, which I think will repair all modules, including armor, but not just armor. So if any of your other modules, like your weapon systems or anything, get damaged, this will also repair them over time. Now, if I mouse over the Advanced Armor Repair that I put in, it says it's at 100% effectiveness. Now, if I add the Cruiser Auto Repair System, you'll see it's dropped down to 90% effectiveness, and so has this. A lot of systems, if you add more than one, the effectiveness of each individual one starts to drop down. Shields are the same way, for example. So there's a diminishing return in terms of how much stuff of the same you want to add. So it encourages a certain degree of diversification in ships and stops you from making these all or nothing vessels. But I'm willing to accept the 90% hit. Now, I'm also going to go into defenses here, and we're going to see. I've never built a ship with this actual strategy before, but I've always wanted to try it. There is also a cruiser camouflage system. It's a short-term stealth, and I'm going to drop it into the ship as well in one of these other module slots. So my idea, I'm hoping to design a ship that when it gets damaged, it will do a short stealth to give the repair systems a chance to fix up the ship and to get it back into battle status. We're going to see how well it works. I really have no idea. Now, of course, we also know we need engines because that's a requirement of the map. I also want to have, and while a lot of times I actually would put in maybe just one small engine just to minimize it, I actually want the ship to be a little bit more mobile because I want it to be able to pull back from the front lines if need be to give it more time to repair. So we've got a basic cruiser engine 2, cruiser engine 3, which is more expensive, also heavier, but only takes up the one slot. So I'm going to just see what my budget is like. Let's say I drop in 2 cruiser engines 3s. This is not something I would normally do. You can see the maximum speed of the ship here. So, speed 0. Second engine brings the maximum speed up to 0.25. A third only brings it up to 0.38. But I'm hoping it also gives it more acceleration. So it does give it more thrust. So even though the max speed doesn't go up that much, the thrust goes up considerably. So again, I'm hoping it's just going to be more agile to get out of the way. Now we're going to drop some. We need some armor. We've got a few options here. We've got basic cruiser armor 2, 3. So these are all going to be more expensive and. Well, that's interesting. So your basic cruiser armor is 136 in cost. Cruiser Armor 2 is more expensive, but if you look at the weight, it goes from 92 down to 72. Now the Cruiser Armor 3 is much heavier, as well as more expensive, but it also just absorbs much, much more. But it's interesting that the 2 is actually lighter weight. I didn't realize that. There's also Ultra Heavy Armor, which is even more expensive than the Cruiser Armor 3, and heavier, but includes much more damage absorption. There's also Powered Armor, which is really interesting. It's much lighter. So it compares very well. It compares very well to Cruiser Armor 3. It's cheaper and much lighter, but it absorbs the same amount. The difference is it also consumes power, which you can see my stats up here. We're going to look at these briefly, but you have to compensate with power. So That's really interesting to me. Do we want heavy armor? Do we want powered armor? You know, we're not going to have shields, so that's going to eliminate a lot of the power draw on our ship. So actually, I think we go with powered armor. I like the fact that it's light. Again, it'll go well with the fact that we actually are going to have a slightly higher mobility vessel. So I'm going to drop, say, 3 of those. Now, their effectiveness does drop with each one as well, but it's still, it doesn't drop very much. 3 of them are still at 94% effectiveness. That sounds pretty good to me. Now, I'm also going to drop some weapons on here. And I will have to make some adjustments to this design afterwards. I'm just, dropping things in. One interesting thing, so you see all the weapons are hexagons here, and they only fit into the hard points. The one exception is this guy here, which is an EMP cannon. Very, very interesting weapon. Trying to look at the range here. 700 range, so it's a fairly long-range weapon. And actually, what I can do is I can click on this, and it'll give me a list of all the weapons sorted by their range. So you can get, because this can matter for a lot of fleet designs. You might want, and I tend to do this with my frigates, which are a lighter design, a lot squishier. Sometimes I will make frigates with literally 0 defenses, but I will equip them with super long-range weapons and make sure they stay in the back of the battle all the time. So then the range really matters. But you can see there's a lot of weapons around the 700 range, even down to the 600. Quite a lot of options here. So the EMP cannon, when it lands, the pulse will knock out your enemy's fire control. Basically, it will actually just disable them for a short amount of time. And there's very interesting strategies that you can use with the EMP cannons. Right now, what I'm looking at, and the cruiser target painter is really interesting. This beam just hits a target and stays onto it, and then any missiles targeted at that target will always hit. It will not miss. The one thing I'm not sure about, actually, is does this only count for missiles fired from this cruiser, or is it for the entire fleet? Can you just have one cruiser with this, and then the entire fleet's missiles will land? I'm not sure about that one. And even if that were the case, I don't know if that's entirely what you want to do, because a lot of times your ships will end up firing at different targets, so it might help if every cruiser just had one of these painters anyway. But I don't know if we're going to use missiles. So what I'm looking for here is, let's just look at a standard cruiser beam laser. There's a lot of stats down here, but there's a damage number here, obviously, so more damage is better. But there's also these shield and armor penetration numbers. Basically, right. So the ship stats here, the average armor. Not only does armor just absorb a certain amount of damage, like just armor acts like hit points, okay, for one, but it also will have a chance of completely ignoring weapons. So right now my average armor is 30, it's about 40. And basically, and unless I'm lying here, and I don't think I am. No, see, damage absorption, maximum capacity for absorbing damage by the armor module. Armor is worn out by explosive impact when it reaches 0. Yeah, okay, so I was right. Armor acts as hit points, but this average armor is basically your entire armor divided by the number of slots in your ship. And any weapon with a armor penetration less than this number, so under 40, is going to do virtually nothing. It's going to reflect away 97% of that weapon's fire without any damage. So, when you're selecting weapons and you see this armor penetration, that's what that matters. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up now is we know none of our enemies are going to have shields. So, we don't care about the shield penetration in any way whatsoever. We just want to make sure we don't take a weapon with a low armor penetration. If I scroll down here, you can see that a cruiser laser, now this is a beam laser, but where's a cruiser laser? Here we go. Cruiser laser is actually fairly good against shields, but is really bad against armor. So we do not want to use that. We want to make sure we're using weapons with very high armor penetration. And if you look, this proton beam has quite a lot. So does the fusion beam has quite a lot. So maybe we want to look at those. So here's a proton beam, which has a range of 700. That's okay. So the fusion beam also does good, range of 705. So these are both pretty good. There's a bunch of other stats to look at. Their damage is very similar. The fusion beam needs less crew than the proton beam. What about power consumption? A fusion beam needs more power. Okay, that's worth noting. The tracking speed is also relevant because at the tracking speed, the higher the tracking speed, the better it will be at shooting fast-moving targets. The fire interval is also important. That's how many thousandths of a second pass between firing the weapon. So it looks like the proton beam is much slower firing. The fusion beam will fire faster. It uses more energy, but fires faster. Oh, there's also an optimum range, which matters, which are basically the same. There's also a minimum range. The proton beam can actually fire at a much shorter range. So I don't know. It looks like they're pretty much the same. So I'm probably going to load on the fusion beams. It is notable that the minimum range is less, which means it's probably going to have a really hard time engaging fighters at short range, despite the fact that it's got a superior tracking speed. But you see, the best thing with tracking speed is the cruiser defense laser, and it's meant to shoot down missiles and fighters. So I'm going to load up a bunch of fusion beams, and we're going to have to take some of these off, but I'm going to put as many as I can for now. There's going to be a single type of weapon here, entirely made to punch through armor. And weapons, it's worth noting, even though I've loaded 6 of these on, the fusion beam effectiveness is still 100%. They always stack perfectly. But now we've got a problem, because look at here, power produced is only 8 units of power, which is the base hull power generation. Power consumed 146. Okay, so we need some power plants. So we're going to look at the power generators. There's basic power generator. You can see the power produced here, and it just goes up the chart. The problem is, even the best power generator that we can do, power generator 3, can only generate 66 power. So if I put these in the last 2 slots, I still don't generate quite enough power. So I think we're going to have to... Now, we could remove the powered armor, but I think in practice we're just using too many guns. I think I want to keep the powered armor. I'm going to take off 1 gun. Now, our power consumed is under our power produced. That's great! But we still have a crew requirement problem. We need 276 crew to run the ship. We only have 0. So we're going to need a crew module. And again, there's a bunch of different options here. And if we look at the crew supplied, the best crew module is the crew module 3, which does 290, which actually is going to be perfect. I didn't actually expect that. Bam! Crew supplied is perfect. The crew module also needs a little bit of energy, but not that much. We are still in the green. We've actually just designed a perfectly balanced ship. Usually I have to jiggle them quite a bit more, so that's really excellent. You can see our maximum speed has dropped considerably, though, because of the weight of our modules. So it's still not going to be a very fast ship, I don't think, but we're going to save this design. And the Armor Region Cruiser, I think, is a perfectly fine name. We could use a fancier name, but I like descriptive names because I forget what the ships are. It saves you from having to click on things. So, okay, that's great. Now, you don't want only cruisers. You definitely, at the very least, you're going to need some fighters. And the reason you want fighters is because they're good at dealing with other fighters. Now, there's a few different designs. Again, you've got some different stats here. Standard modules, hardpoints 1. So this actually drops from 3 standard modules to 2. For what reason? Oh, it's a lot cheaper. The Hawk Fighter is much, much cheaper, which is not a bad thing. Leopard actually can fit 2 weapons, which is interesting. Oh, and then we're into frigates. So, let's take a look here. Let's take a look at this guy. Definitely more expensive. Now, what you can do with a fighter, we're just going to remove this name so we make sure we don't override anything here, is you've got 2 different ways you can build your fighter. You can use, say, put in some torpedoes, which are slow firing, whatever. This would make you a good bomber type ship. This would be a fighter that would get up and target other cruisers and target other frigates and destroy them. But I'm pretty confident in my cruiser's ability to do that. So I'm going to build this one as an anti-fighter fighter. And for that, I'm going to want probably laser cannons. So this doesn't matter. These 2 are very, very close. The laser cannon and the pulse laser. They're both short range. Our fire, the damage. Well, the pulse laser's got better damage. It's just more expensive, I think. More expensive and heavier. Well, let's try that. Let's see what happens. Let's stick 2 on here. See what happens. We definitely need an engine, and again, let's just start with putting the best engine on, and then we're going to need some power, which is under other. So we need 10.5 more power, which we will not have enough no matter which one we use. Best is the power generator 3, which does not give us enough power. So we've got a few options. We could reduce our engines, which would save us some. Not quite enough, but maybe that's part of the solution. But it sounds like we may just have to remove a weapon. Now, the pulse laser used more energy, didn't it? Power consumed 4.8. It's not that much of a difference. If I did put 2 laser cannons on and drop the engine down to engine 1, we still don't have enough. So, which is kind of funny. That's with the best power generator we have right now. There may be better ones out there, but I'm thinking we're probably going to have to design a ship with only 1 gun. If we're going to do that, may as well use a hull that only has 1 hardpoint. Because again, that Leopard fighter was the most expensive. Oh no, actually, the Falcon is the most. Falcon also has a bonus power output. Let's see what we can design with the fanciest one, just to see. Let's load on the best engine, and the best power generator, and the pulse laser. Still sends us over. Not by much. And we do have 1 more module. Now, we've got a couple of options. We could just drop some armor on here, which of course doesn't use any energy whatsoever. So that would make our ship considerably tougher. It cuts back on speed slightly. We'll drop the engines down from a 3 to a 2. And actually have way more energy than we need to. So we'll drop the power generators down. Actually, I think we can go all the way to a 1. Not quite. We could do it if we went to a laser cannon instead. The pulse laser also has a lot less armor penetration. Now, what is our stats at? Our average armor is 3.25. And that's with really good armor. So, even with the reduced armor penetration of the pulse laser, it should be able to punch through just about anything another fighter will have. On the other hand, if we ever have to turn our weapons over to frigates or cruisers, it'll almost certainly be deflected away, but I think that's going to be the case even with the laser cannons. So I feel like the pulse, let's go with the pulse laser, and let's, that was the generator 1. Let's go to a generator 2. So we've got a little bit of excess energy, but I think that's okay. So we're going to call this the anti-fighter fighter, because that's what this is designed to be. We're going to save that. And just for kicks, you know what, let's also design a frigate. Let's go for one of those long-range fire frigates with no defenses. That one's got an armor boost. Power boost is probably what we want, because we are going to have this thing be totally defenseless. Which is mostly going to make it vulnerable to fighters. So we're going to have to make sure we have enough anti-fighter stuff. So the weapons we're going to use, let's click on this, and we're going to pick a weapon with the maximum range, which will be the frigate missile launcher. Also the fast missile launcher is also good, followed by the frigate torpedoes. So, plasma launchers actually have a really long range as well. Like 950 is still really freaking long. Plasma launchers are really slow moving, and they're useless against anything that's fast. So the idea, if you're going to build a ship with plasma launchers, you really want it to prioritize enemy cruisers, which is not a terrible idea. Now the missile launcher, much longer range, slightly better armor penetration. Fast missile launchers, faster, so less likely to be shot down. Alright, let's just use standard missile launchers. We'll load up as many as we can. That will be this ship's entire purpose, is just to fire missiles. Missiles are actually don't use much energy either, which is really quite good. Which may actually mean, I don't know what we're going to do for the ship design, actually. Now, I actually don't want as much speed on this guy. So we're actually just going to stick 1 frigate engine right back here. That's all. Which, I mean, I guess, looking at it now, will sort of mean we're going to end up with all these modules with no room for everything. I mean, we can stick some crew on here. That's actually ridiculous, because the missiles don't need power. What are we going to do with the rest of these slots? I guess we could fill these up with defenses, but then what's the point in having it be long range? Okay, what if we switch to the plasma launcher? It needs more energy, not much more. But we could do that. Alright, and we will make this one an anti-cruiser. So, power generator. The cheaper ones. Well, that's still more than enough. And we can replace this crew module. Alright, I guess you're getting armor. You're still going to be long range. We're just going to use the cheap armor and just fill in the last slots here. There's none of these we want. No. These other things. No. None of these. What's this? Oh, tractor beam. Tractor beams are really interesting. They lock onto fighters and stop them. And then when they're stopped, and also slows frigates as well. When they're stopped, it's much easier to land hits on them. So, let's finish designing this. Long range frigate. Let's start a new armor design, a new frigate design. Just for kicks. One with, yeah, the power boost. Actually, I guess our last one was a power boost too, wasn't it? Let's use the armor boost, because this one's going to be a little bit more in their face. This is actually going to be an anti-fighter ship. So we are going to put in one tractor beam. And then we are going to use weapons with a high tracking speed. Oh, the anti-fighter missile launcher. How about we use that? It's probably under defense, isn't it? No, it's not. Here it is. Conventional missiles. It's meant for fighters, but I think it'll also shoot down enemy missiles. I'm not sure, though. Point defense. This is for against missiles. We could just put we could just use the ship as a missile shield. We could actually stick these in front of the cruisers just to have them absorb missiles, but nah. Actually, we don't have anything to shoot down missiles right now. The cruisers are literally just going to have to tank 100% of them. Oh, man. So, I-point defense Mark II. Let's use that. It doesn't have a lot of hardpoint locations, does it? So, now let's make it fairly mobile so you can chase down those fighters. And how much power do we need right now? This would be enough at the moment. Oh no, it's not. Crew. We need 70, so one of these. Oh, which means we don't have enough power. And we'll just use some basic armor. Save some money. What's the cost difference? It's a fair bit more, but as a percentage of our overall ship cost, it does add up. And we'll stick like this. So this is going to be an anti... See, we don't need anti-fighter frigates, really. Well, I don't know. Because we're going to have our own fighters doing the job, but we'll take a look. Okay, so let's deploy our battle. Actually, I'm going to delete the tutorial ships because I don't want them on my list. Alright. Long-range frigates. Are they? Oh, they're sorted alphabetically, actually. I won't do it now. But if I were smarter, I would have named these, and that's what I used to do with the letter, like, F, C. Well, what did I used to do for fighters? I don't remember. But I would name them with the letter starting by their ship type so that they would be sorted properly. But no big deal. You can also filter here. I only want cruisers. Or actually, that filters them out. But let's start our armor regen cruiser. That is going to be our front line. Just meant to tank out the damage. You can actually put them fairly close together on this. They don't actually overlap in the game, just because their design here is quite big. So let's start with that. Now our cost is quite high here already. Well, hopefully we'll be okay. Now, my long-range frigates, I'm going to stick right behind these guys. They do have armor. Yeah, something like that. Actually, okay, here. Let's try this. Stick these right behind the cruisers. And then we're going to deploy some fighters here. But before I deploy all the fighters, and you can see, well, I don't know if you can see, but this is actually a squadron of fighters. There's going to be 16 of them here. And now it's time to talk about the orders, which are on the left-hand side here. This controls how these fighters are going to react in battle, and all the ships have something like this. Now, I want these fighters here, because they're anti-fighter fighters, and their weapons will suck against captain ships. I don't want them to ever attack frigates or cruisers, unless that's literally the only thing. So I'm going to remove these orders completely. Done. And then I'm going to tell, this is the attack fighters order. I'm going to take this, I'm going to tell it top priority, not that it's necessary because we've got no other things. And this is also the range which you will try to move into to attack. And I'm just going to set that, oh, yeah. Now it's set to 203. This is my pulse laser, this is the max range, 270, and the optimal range is 202.5. By clicking on this weapon, it automatically sets the range to your ideal. So I'm going to set that. So that's what it's going to try to do, attacking fighters first and foremost. And I'm going to actually right-click on the ship and save orders for the fighters. That way when I drop another fighter down, it's going to default to the exact same orders. And the reason I stick these up here, instead of, say, around my ships, is the fighters are actually quite fast. So I always like to stick them far back so they don't end up too far ahead in the battle. They're easily going to pass my cruisers and whatnot. But I just like to start them at the top, so that way they sweep in one group together and pick off the enemy fighter groups sort of one at a time. Rather than being spread out and engaging everything one-on-one, I want to engage outnumbering the opponent. Now, my budget is starting to get a little tighter than I'd hoped. I'm actually going to cut out the middle section here, like that, saving a lot, and then I'm going to add one more group of fighters. Now I'm going to select all these fighters together and add an order and tell them to stick together. So now all my fighters will attempt to stick together. Well, it doesn't tell the groups to stick as one big group. It tells the individual groups of fighter to stick with their leader. So this pack of 16 will stay a pack of 16. If I want all these groups to stay together, what I can do is tell this bottom guy, and actually, let me set this as default already. I'm going to tell this bottom guy to formation fly. So the shortcut for that is Shift F. Okay. Fly in formation with these, and that with that. So now, oh, you can't formation fly fighters together. Okay, never mind. But this will come up down here. So we've got this cruiser and we have the frigate behind it. Now frigates, even though I didn't put many engines on here, frigates also tend to be fairly quick and are likely to get up ahead of your fighter, or your cruiser, which is not what you want. So I'm going to tell this cruiser, this frigate, to stay in formation behind this guy. But before I do, I'm going to change the priority. These guys have no anti-fighter stuff at all, so I'm actually going to take out the fighter script completely. I'm going to have them prioritize, I think, other frigates, just to blow them out of the sky very quickly. That's 100% priority. And I'm going to tell them their engagement range should be the ideal range for their plasma launchers. Oh wait, they have plasma launchers. Never mind. Never mind. They're actually going to be the lowest priority will be the frigates. Because frigates, plasma launchers are inaccurate, frigates are faster, so we actually want to prioritize cruisers because you're more likely to hit them. So I'm going to set that as the default for my frigates, and actually these guys, I'm going to take them out. Can I not multi-click? There we go. Let's get these guys out and put in a new copy, which are going to have the correct orders. Awesome. Yeah. So the reason I didn't delete the frigate script altogether is because these guys here, where I have only fighters, will seek out fighters anywhere they are on the map. With these guys, they will, if cruisers are within range, they will almost certainly be attacking the cruisers because it's high priority. But if there's no cruisers within range, but there are frigates, I think they will fire at the frigates as opposed to flying all over the place to find a cruiser. I mean, I think they'll always fire at an opponent within range whenever they get a chance, but this will stop them from actually seeking out a cruiser. They'll be content firing at a frigate if that's all they see. Now I'm going to set some formation flying here so they stick behind my cruisers. Like so. And my cruisers, I will also delete the fighter priority. And for these priorities, it's fine. I'm going to set the range to the fusion beam range. In fact, maybe the cruisers should actually prioritize the frigates, since no one else will. And the frigates do go down extremely easy. And actually, I should do the same. Well, set the default here. These guys will just box select and tweak their orders simultaneously. Set the range, set the priority, and here as well. Set the range. Leave the priority 80%, is perfectly fine. Okay, I'm going to save this deployment so that we can refer back to it later. And I'm going to keep it on easy, but now I should earn 9,600 honor for this battle, as opposed to like 26 or whatever it was. So let's hit fight. And finally we're going to get a true proper battle. And bam. So now these guys should fly in formation. I'm going to zoom in here. And they do. In fact, the frigate is actually turning much, much worse than the cruiser. It's not something I'm used to seeing, but it shows you how bad it is. And there's the plasma bolts going out. Should be targeting cruisers. And I think they're missing. It's long range, and these weapons are incredibly inaccurate. And my cruiser here is being hit by the fighters, but you can see the weapons are just bouncing off my powerful armor. No effect, no effect, no effect. I'm only going to be taking actual damage from heavier weapons. We've already taken out a frigate, which is excellent. You can see here, I think my cruiser is actually firing at this cruiser here, but nope, now that the frigate's in range, it's going to try to prioritize it, I think. Oh, and this guy just stealthed! Look at that! And popped back in. That's right, they're going to try to repair. Let's look at the damage. You can see this is the armor bar. It's increasing and then decreasing, increasing, decreasing. I forgot to set them as cautious. That's what I meant to do. Because right now they're not designed to retreat. Where are my fighters here? A bunch of them are up here. Oh, they're looping around. They're taking pot shots at these frigates, but really no damage is getting through. They should be focusing on fighters. Down here, fighters are fighting other fighters, doing what they can. Oh god, this guy's in rough shape. Oh, he needs to run. He doesn't have the right AI. We may win this fight, but not going to be quite as overwhelming as I had hoped. Oh god, the damage. Look, we've lost all our actual armor now. We have no more powered armor. We're losing some of our weapons. Ah! This guy's still fine. The other thing I should have said was cooperative. Look at him targeting down this fighter, this frigate, blowing it up. Oh, they die really fast when they go down. There's actually a lot of frigates on this map. No effect. How are we having no effect on these guys? Oh no, I'm seeing no effect from fighters. There we go. These fusion beams were hitting pretty decently. Doing some damage to these guys. They're already smoking, trying to get around. Cruisers are trying to navigate appropriately. So we still have the plasma bolts going down. Now they're a little closer. These should hit a little bit more reliably. Yeah, they do, and they're hitting some pretty big damage when they do hit. And we're still at 95% integrity against their 49. We're definitely doing super good here. But again, this is on easy, and we're definitely going to crank up the difficulty now. We're also going to adjust their... Oh, there's another ship going stealth. Look how damaged it is. It has no weapons to fire, so it may as well stealth. Actually, it's only stealth for a moment there. And it has no repair modules. It has nothing. This ship is dead. There's nothing it can do. And it's being hit some more. Oh god, it's going to go. Oh no, poor vessel. Oh, behold my tentacles is going to fail. Oh, another hit. And one more hit like that, and it's going to go. Here the missiles are coming in. Oh, the humanity. Oh, what's our crew on that? We've got like 290 crew just died. This guy's stealthing momentarily. Look at his armor recharge down here. So that's working out, but we didn't set them with the right orders to really do a good job. So we've taken a few hits, but we still have a good number of our crew. Look at this guy's stealth. So invisible! You can hardly see him. Regenerating his modules. I don't know how long he stays stealthed. This guy should die really quick. Strawberries and creams. Their only ship left. Even the fighters are getting here, trying to take some damage. In fact, some hull damage is going down. As the entire armor plates go, yes, there we go. More and more damage will get through. And we just earned a whole bunch. I'm going to view statistics. I like this post-battle summary. Tells you your most effective ship design. armor regen cruiser, the least effective, the long-range frigate, but that's just measured by how much raw damage they do, really. I don't know. I think they still did perfectly fine. Well, the plasma launchers apparently didn't do that great, so that's on the frigates. Maybe they just weren't that accurate. Maybe we shouldn't use them at all. Just put in more cruisers. Continue. Damage delivered. So a bunch of stats. You can find out all kinds of numbers on all the individual ships, even the enemy ships. But let's go back to deployment here. So we did okay, but let's crank up the difficulty. Just change the difficulty setting for this battle, which means you're up against a different enemy fleet. Difficulty goes higher, the odds against you go higher as well. So, and even on expert, you don't even know anything about their deployment. So your budget doesn't change, and the honor to gain doesn't change either. But the difference is, if I were to just play this map over again on normal, exactly the same as before, you might think, oh, I'll get another Knight of 600 honor, but I won't. Because it's the difference, it's how much better you did than last time. So the only way to get more honor is if I were to take some of the ships away. Now, I'm going to take all my cruisers. No, I couldn't just box select them. There we go. I'm going to add another honor, another order called Cautious. Retreat from the front line if you're taking too much damage. I think that's going to be really, really quite good. And how much damage? Well, actually, retreat quite aggressively. At, say, 50% damage, you're going to start your retreat. Because they are slow, give them time to cloak, repair, and then once they're repaired beyond this point, they should turn around and go right back in. So we're going to try that as an experiment. And we will go... We'll do the hard one, because ideally you want to beat all 3 difficulties, I think, to max out your honor. And I'm going to leave it like this. I'm not going to take anyone away from now. And... it's good. Oh, I'm going to actually... take this, set as the default. Also going to resave this deployment. Overwrite that. And let's fight against the hard fleet and see what happens. And we'll speed up the beginning a little bit here just to get the action going. Max out the speed, and then we'll slow it down once things start going. So you can see the computer, their layout, they've got some fighters that are staying behind and escorting defensively, and some are going ahead and doing bombing. Luckily, they're not really getting through heavy armor, which is awesome. This ship's actually approaching stealth, which is actually pretty smart. You can see the weapon ranges too that I've got highlighted, and you can select which weapon is being demonstrated in terms of range. You see, depending on where they are in the ship, the range changes ever so slightly. Now we're about to close, opening it up on the frigates. Yes, applying tons of damage against these guys. You can see this one's smoking already. Oh, this guy's taking a lot of damage, including EMP. Oh my god, so many armor modules already down, but we can't react. We can't use our caution script because we're being disabled by the EMP. Come on, get away. Oh, he's got nothing left. He's got nothing left. Can you camouflage? No. Oh, we're going to get obliterated. This enemy fleet is so much more powerful than the last one. Even this guy here, already out of armor. Oh, the humanity. Oh, our design's no good. Those plasma shots keep missing. Not all the time. This one's taking some damage now. Oh, maybe the problem is we're not focus firing enough. We could set all these guys to have a cooperative attack script. And then they would focus fire considering... Oh, there we go. See, this guy cloaked, but it didn't matter because all the systems are already down. Look, the EMP's taking out my ships time and time again. We may need some EMP defenses. That may be what we need. Oh, the plasma taking out my own frigates. Oh. So horrible. More plasma shots just missing. Okay, we'll switch to missiles and try that. If we're going to keep the long-range frigates at all. And these guys are actually surviving okay, so maybe they're fine. Oh, trying to pull away. No, their engines are just not fast enough to make a difference. So I think we're going to strip down the engines as well. They're just taking up energy and hull space and cost that we don't need. So we're going to strip those out. We are slightly winning. You know, it feels bad. Our fighters have finished cleaning up their fighters, so now they're gonna focus fire on the enemy ships. Now they seem to be bouncing off, but if any of these start losing their armor, oh, this guy, look at this, he's just taking tons of damage from those fighters. And the fighters, if they can get through the armor, do so much damage. They are absolutely ruthless. I wonder if I can give them the Vulture order. Vulture means your ship will focus fire on damaged ship. Oh, we've lost all our cruisers. Except the one that's stealthed, and it's too damaged to make a difference anyway. So, yeah, we're going to admit defeat, because we're going to lose anyway. Shame. Go back to deployment. So, first things first. Let's edit our long-range guy. So, yeah, these plasma launchers not working out. Just too inaccurate. We're going to put in missile launchers, which are longer range, and should hopefully be much more accurate. I'm going to put way too much power, even though we're using the base power generator. What can we do for that? We can't add shields. I don't think we can do anything, actually. We've got the minimal thing. We've got the minimal armor on these frigates, but it's not the frigates dying that's the problem. They don't tend to get targeted that quickly. We can probably trim down the crew module. Indeed we can, so again, it's going to save cost. So we have an excess of power, which kind of sucks, but I think that's okay. So let's save this. Yes, we'll overwrite that. I think our fighters are fine, but what we want to do is we want to modify our armor region cruisers. They're just not working out. What are we going to do? Right, we're going to take away these cruiser engine 3s, which are just ridiculous. Now, this map does require us to have cruiser engines of some kind, so we'll use the level 1s, which does give us more power. Now, we could add more armor. That's an idea. We could add another repair module. Also an idea. Let's just add more armor. Powered armor? We still have the excess power, so why not, right? We might be able to cut down our crew module. Indeed we can. Can't go to the basic one though, right? No, it's too small. Right, we've got the carrier bays that we can use to repair the fighters, but the fighters actually do okay. Maybe we need more fighters. Maybe we should make some bombers. Maybe we should take out the frigates entirely. There's an idea. Well, I'd like to give these new frigates a try. I think these beams are doing really, really well for us. Alright, so we're going to leave that. We're just going to overwrite this ship. So, we pretty much have the same configuration as before, except these ships have been tweaked. I'm also going to take all these guys and give them the cooperative script, so they should focus fire a lot more. Alright. Maybe we should add a little bit more firepower. What's another one of these cruisers? How much do these cost? Yeah, we could easily add, say, another pair of cruisers. Actually, let's just clump them up a little bit more. So we've dropped our honor considerably, but this should help increase our odds of winning. You know what? Let's take one out. Let's clump these up. Way up here. We're going to focus, we're going to flank them. We're going to focus on just half their army at once. Basically. Yeah, we'll try that and see how that works. Yes, override. Fight! And go. Okay. Ship's moving much slower. Starting off cloaking. Okay, I don't know if that's the right time to cloak, but what the hell. Fighters moving in. So they're shooting us with plasma weapons too. Luckily, you can see how much they miss too, so not just us. Okay, taking out as many of these bombers as possible, as quickly as possible. The missiles are going out. Apparently the missiles were targeting the fighters, because that was the only thing in range. And again, they will fire their weapons at anything in range, even if they're not set as a priority target or of any kind. But now we're firing missiles, and look at this. It looks like we're focusing fire on this frigate now. It's going to make a huge, huge difference. A bunch of them are missing, so they may have some electronic countermeasures. But the missiles are still hitting. Luckily, they're long-range weapons. Now the beams come into play. Wiped out already. Nice, nice, nice. Focus fire on the second one. Good. That is working really well. And look, half their army is completely out of the battle. Now we're going to close in on their cruisers. The missiles are looking to engage. They should be much more accurate against the cruisers. Still some misses, and that is definitely, I think, countermeasures. So the beams can't be countermeasured, but missiles take no energy. That's pretty good. Well, the frigate has more than enough energy to spare. Maybe the frigate should just be changed to really long-range beams. And maybe the cruisers, who actually had a little bit of an energy problems, should use more missiles. Well, there's an idea. It's like the more hardpoint. Oh, look at the focus fire, so sexy. Oh man, we're still getting shocked here. Now we could use some of those EMP weapons as well, which certainly have a good point. The focus fire going so much better. We're at 98%. They're down to 88%, and they're about to lose the first cruiser. Smoke, fire damage going off. Yes. Oh, the focus fire is making such a good difference, especially considering how clumped our army is. There we go. A few people firing here because it's the only one they can shoot, but this one taking the maximum damage. They can't do anything about it. And our ships are still very, very healthy. Full armor. This one's taking a little bit of armor damage. Hopefully he's going to engage his cautious script, maybe stealth and back off in a second. This guy is stealth. He's taking damage, but he had stealth. He just got EMP'd though. Knocked him out of stealth. He's trying to repair as much as he can. Got more armor there. One of their cruisers goes down. 97 to 72%. Now, we do have an extra cruiser than we did, but I actually feeling like that was an overreaction and I didn't need it. We could probably rerun the same battle without having added that cruiser. Now, it's interesting, these missiles that had locked down on before he stealthed are still hitting, which kind of sucks. But he is trying to repair, and it's going to stop additional fires, attacks from coming his way. He's slowly repairing the armor. There we are. This guy's taking some serious damage. I think he just came out of stealth, though, so he probably can't stealth for another little bit. And the EMP is not helping things. He's all electrocuted, can't do anything. Taking actual hull damage now. The armor modules have all been destroyed, and this one is definitely going to go down. We're still looking pretty goddamn good. Still have a few fighters buzzing around, just annoying them. Most of them have been shot down, though. We need to do some more damage in our team. Let's speed this up to 4 times. See how this battle resolves itself. Lots of firepower coming into this cruiser. May have knocked out some of its system. It's smoking quite heavily. So is ours, though. No armor. This one's going to go down pretty soon. Actually, this one hasn't died yet, which is amazing. Finally loses his last beam weapon. Does have stealth. No, it's about to go down and get destroyed. This guy's being electrocuted, almost completely disabled. We're still ahead, but oh, these are just brutal. Yes, he manages to stealth. Doesn't have much left, but as long as he stays in the battle and contributes just a little bit of armor. And our frigates, you can still see, are laying out the damage here. These long-range missiles doing so much damage. In fact, I think these missiles are some of the things contributing the most amount of damage in the entire system. Now, they're firing back with missiles. It may be worth redesigning the cruiser to have point defense missiles instead. Really make it that front row meat shield. The point defense weapons would be good against missiles and also against fighters. And then we would just maybe stack on more of these frigates. We could add a second layer of frigates and just overwhelm people with missiles. But that's pretty good. We won that at the medium difficulty, and we could unlock more stuff, which we will look at now. So, again, we have enough to unlock a new race. Ooh, always exciting. I like these guys, the Empire. Their ships look awesome. They're all circular. And if we peek at the ship designs, you can see these Imperial ships here both have a shield boost. So that's the signature of the Imperial, very high shields. And I like shields usually. That map, I wasn't using any because there are no shields allowed on that particular screen. But usually shields are a big thing. Let's take a look at the Alliance ships. Lots of armor, lots of hull integrity. That seems to be their thing. Big armor boosts. The Rebel have speed boost, generally speaking, so they're a very fast ship. So everyone's got a little signature. Now, I'm going to give you a peek at one other thing. Now, this is not something you get with the base game, but there is like an expansion for Gratuitous Space Battles called Galactic Conquest, I think is what it's called. It introduces a campaign mode. New campaign. Choose the difficulty. Sure, we'll just have it at Captain difficulty. Just show you the map. We'll probably get some pop-ups here. There are multiple maps to play on as well. Okay, some stats. Here's the Empire stats. Yes, I have played this before, so let's skip through all this. Ooh, wormholes. Planet in the center of the screen is your home world, the only one you control at the start of the campaign. Icons above the world represent the different planetary facilities that are available on the planet. Icons below the planet show your fleet that are currently based there. You can mouse over and click all the items to get more information once the tutorial ends. Some stats on your planet. Shipbuilding. Build ships. I just want to get through this. Okay. So, in the last screen you saw, those were just standalone battles. You were just, single tactical encounters that you were trying to figure out, and you're just playing for those honor points. In the campaign mode, you are trying to take over the galaxy. You have planets that have production, that can build ships. So this planet has a large factory that has that produces income, has a Class A shipyard, and a small naval academy. The naval academy produces recruits, so pilots for your ship, and the shipyard allows you to build ships, which you will need all these things. So everything's got a cost. Oops, here's the ship design screen again, my bad. Everything's got a cost, needs a certain number of pilots, and these are the same ships that I have from the campaign, or from the missions I was just playing, also the anything I've unlocked by playing the other missions comes up here. So what you want to do is play the single battles, unlock a bunch of cool stuff, then you can play the campaign mode and try to take over the universe, the Veiled region. And yeah, you can zoom in on the planets to see what they have to offer. So this is Naval Academy and a medium factory. That's good. What I have a large factory. So this is sort of a medium income planet, but what I like about this one is actually it's totally isolated. So it might be a good one to take out first, because then you don't have to worry about defending this at all. It's completely entirely defended. And then after that, maybe I'd want to go south here, take out this guy, and then I can go through this entire branch. Now these are not necessarily quite as valuable. This has a small factory, and it also has a perk. Oh, this is a like a nebula effect. Engine speeds reduced by 50%. And I'm not sure if you can... 0% threat level, lots of loyalty, so that all comes into factor. And I'm not sure if you can build more of these. This is 3. If you take over a planet that's only got 1, I think you might be able to build more stuff, but I'm not sure. I haven't played the campaign a lot, actually. Fleet icons, this demonstrate things. Turn, exit to the main menu. List of fleets. Factory manager. Oh, that's cool. Okay, that's helpful. And currently controlled shipyards. Right, so if you were worried that the game was like not quite deep enough because it was only one battle at a time, well, here you go. Huge campaign mode to play with. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at Gratuitous Space Battles. Very fun game. The company that makes it is called Positech. They're in the UK, and I say they because it's the Queen's English. It's one guy. It's the man named Cliff Harris who made this game. He used to be a designer. He used to work for a big gaming company, and he ended up quitting to work on his own stuff, and he made games like this. If you go to his website, the Positech website, not only will you find this game, but there's tons of other excellent games there. Now, the code for the discount is only for Gratuitous Space Battles. It's called Let's Play GSB, and again, look in the description box, and if you think this is cool, go and pick up the game. It's not very expensive. Support the indie scene, and you will have fun with this guy. Oh! One more thing I wanted to show you! I totally forgot! Online play against other players. Now, of course, the nature of this game means it's not going to be simultaneous multiplayer, but check this out. We go into battles, we go back to our map that we'd beaten, and we have our fleet, right? We have our killer fleet that we really love. You can hit challenge, and what it will do is it will upload your fleet online, where other players can play against it. And if I go to the challenges screen, you can see all the other fleets, and there's so many of them, oh my god, so many other fleets that are on there. And you can filter. These are just some of the more recent ones, I believe. Let's look at the date. Yeah, see, May 22nd, that's today. May 22nd, 21st, 20th. So people are constantly putting there, and after you play it, you can rate it. How difficult was it to defeat? Or this is enjoyment and difficulty. So this one, people have rated it as being extremely difficult to defeat. It's on a custom map, so you can download this and play against other players' fleets, and then really see who's the best. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little video, and see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.